All right, let me do a quick summary of what we talked about before. So really, just to go back what I was saying, according to certain content creators on YouTube, high value black men only really are concerned with fitness, looks, and if they are feminine. So those are the three things. But I have to say this. If you go outside of the community, there's other values and layers to this. And I want to talk about those things. So when you're talking about the black community and the fierce competition, because we do outnumber them by 2 million, and if the men are halfway decent, it puts us in a position where we don't have a lot of leverage if we are exclusive to these types of men. But when you go outside of the community, there's a different value system. Other communities care about education. They care about your social standing. They care about your social affiliations. Why? Because the importance of perpetuating wealth, okay? So the conversation that's missing from these other, these predominantly black male dominated spaces is that the perpetuation of wealth happens when people come together in educational institutions where everyone is on the same playing field. Everyone is for that moment on the same plane. And that is where black women can have an opportunity. But I want to get into this a little bit. So when you talk about perpetuating wealth and the importance of education and the importance of a pedigree and the knowledge of softer skills like etiquette, being well-traveled, being well-spoken, all of these things are very, very important, and they've been very important for centuries. When you look at any Jane Austen movie, read any Jane Austen books, those women were cultivated to be excellent women. It wasn't just about being pretty. It wasn't about just being desirable to the eye. So these elite communities, people who are in these higher circles, education is extremely important, okay? Your degrees matter, okay? But more so is where you went to school. So you can go to Harvard and get a liberal arts degree, okay? You can do that because you are in a setting where you're going to meet the movers and shakers, the future titans of America. So it's okay to have a fluffy major at an institution like Harvard, okay? So in other communities, wealth perpetuates itself through social contacts and institutions of higher learning where generations mix and mingle to become the next batch of elites, and it starts early. I want to tell you guys about this book called The Primates of Park Avenue. I think it's very important to read because this was written by an anthropologist who married wealthy and moved to the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And she talked about the ways in which these Manhattanites, these elite women, operated. And I can tell you that these women were not bubble-headed women. These women were very accomplished. The competition, you guys, to get into the right apartment, to get into the right condo is fierce, okay? You are judged from the moment you walk into a realtor's office. They're not supplicating to you, you're supplicating to them. You want them to accept you so that you can then be brought into these elite circles and these buildings. It's crazy. And there's also this fierce competition to get their children into the right preschool and the right school. Why? Because it is a feeder. It feeds. It starts from preschool and goes all the way to college, because they want their children to be on the track to where they can go to the Ivy League so that they can mix and mingle and meet other people in their circle. Why? So that they can perpetuate their wealth and augment their family name. Now, here's the problem that I feel like we have in the Black community. We're so in the moment, right? We're just like, well, I just want to get mine and I ain't worried about that. And, so we don't always think about what comes next after we die, what happens with our children, where they go. It's all about that quick fix, like the in the now. And you can see that in reference to the lower levels of Black people who are investors, who are, who buy real estate, who just sort of work to create generational wealth through businesses, through investments, through venture capital, whatever. We really aren't on that tip. We're just not, okay? A lot of that is because we're left out of it. So I don't want to just, make it seem like we're just not interested. A lot of us, like my parents, just didn't know. Like my father was always interested in investing, but he really didn't know where to start. So the education starts there. And I like that there are people now, especially online, who are teaching people about investments and really trying to. Investors are helping Black people to get a better handle on investments, but we really still lag in that area, okay? So that is part of the problem. I want to just say this, you guys, it's not just your looks. It's not just your femininity, because there's other things that I want to talk about when it comes to high value men. How do I know that where you go to school and your network and your ability to navigate in these elite circles, how do I know this? I've been on the periphery of this for 20 years, okay? So I was a baby mama. I became a baby mama in college, and I met my future husband in my last year of college. And little did I know that his family is from one of the richest towns in the United States. His father is high up in the judicial system. His sister went to not one but 2 Ivy League colleges. He went to a top 50 school. And so I had to learn really fast what was valuable to these people. And I can tell you that it's not just about being pretty and being feminine. It's also being very smart and also having something going on for yourself. Because these men want to be able to brag about their wives and what they're doing. I mean, this is not 1970. I was just watching Stepford Wives before I went live, and we're not living there anymore, okay? We're in a different world, and men do want partners. They want clever women. They want women who are educated. Even if that woman is a stay-at-home mother, they want that woman to be smart because she is going to cultivate that in the children. So that is how I know that. So how can Black women get access to high-value men? I'm not going to talk about how you can get access to high-value men in the Black community, okay? Because I'm really not there, okay? I've not been there for decades, okay? But outside of that, you can find them. The first point of entry is in college. That's why I created the Pink Pill for College, because I want young Black girls who are often told that just get your education, don't worry about them white people, don't do this, don't do that, And then what happens is they graduate from these elite universities and they have no network, they haven't been dating, they have no, they don't have any friends that can be leveraged into something bigger, into a bigger network, into bigger social contacts that can benefit them. We're simply not told that. So your point of entry for to meet these types of high value men, ladies who are in college, you're so lucky because everybody, again, is on that level playing field. So here is another way that you can meet elite people once you get out of college, and that is through charitable organizations like the Junior League. Like, I belong to the Junior League, and they do a lot of charity around the area where I live. It's highly competitive to get into. They have lots of events, there's networking, and the creme de la creme of that area are affiliated with that particular group. There are some sectors of the Junior League that are so hard to get in, particularly in the Dallas area, in the Texas area. It's extremely competitive because people know of the networking opportunities. But there's other things. You can go to charity galas, you can volunteer for charities, you can take up golf, you can go to golf tournaments, you can, what are some of the things that I mentioned? Skiing, high-end travel. These are ways that you can meet these type of men, as long as you feel comfortable mixing and mingling. So you can't just sit there like, just sitting there waiting to be approached. You need to feel confident enough to approach these people and to have conversations. And some of those conversations may lead to something, but some of those conversations may just not, there is no end game. And it's just you practicing, sharpening your iron on feeling more comfortable, speaking to other people outside of your comfort zone, which is also beneficial, but you just never know, okay? So I want to address the single mother thing. Can single mothers attract high value men? The answer is yes, but. Okay? So, yes, but. I don't want Black women to feel like, let me just reset this camera really quick because I don't know how long I've been talking. I don't want single mothers to feel like there is no hope for them. I don't want them to feel like they should just give up. Oh my goodness, we have almost 1,000 people watching right now. Oh my, okay. Can you guys do me a favor and like. Please like, okay? So, okay, so I want single mothers, because I was once you, not to feel like your life is over. Yes, we all wish that things would have been handled differently. Yes, we thought we were making a decision that was right at the time that turned out to not be right. But does that mean you should just kill yourself? It's all over? Here's the thing. The way that men view you having a child out of wedlock, and I'm gonna be honest with you, and this goes for me too. The way that they view that is that if you've never been married, they think, so the guy who knocked you up didn't think enough of you to marry you. That's how some men think. And then they also question your judgment, especially if you have multiple children out of wedlock. Now, you know what? I gotta be honest with you. I have 4 kids. My last kid, I got pregnant using birth control. So it does happen. It does happen, okay? We use birth control and I still got pregnant anyway, okay? So things do happen. And for some people, they're just not comfortable with having an abortion, okay? Or giving up their child for adoption. They're just not. And so they're willing to integrate this new normal into their lives, but they still don't want to let go of certain dreams. And I was there with you. I'm with you. So here's the thing. You guys decide whether I picked a high value man. So before I met my husband, I was living in an apartment. I was with my child's father for a little while, but I was also on AFDC. I was also using food stamps. When I married my husband, we bought a condo with his money. Then we upgraded to another house, and then we upgraded to the house that we're in. That's now $500,000, over $500,000. We live in one of the safest neighborhoods in the United States. I was able to stay home with my kids, and then when I was ready to work, I was able to work. My children have trust funds. So people can say, oh, she just married a regular dude. So you be the judge. My husband has made 6 figures for 15 years. Granted, he's not a millionaire, okay? Nobody's saying that he is, but is he high value? Compared to where I was, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think that high value is going to be relative to your situation. Part of the reason why it was easier for me to form a relationship with my husband was because my child was young. And she was young and she was cute. And so there are some statistics there that say that if you are a single mother or a divorced mother, things tend to work out better if you introduce that other person before the child turns about 6 years old, okay? So, the younger you realize, the younger your child is, when you realize the situation isn't working for you that you're currently in, and you're ready to course correct, it's a little bit easier statistically when your child is on the younger side, okay? And if you think about it, that makes a lot of common sense. So I hope the mods are, doing their thing, because I'm not paying attention to it. We've got 1,000 people in here right now. Hello. Hello. How do you guys like the setup? I like it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so the last thing that I want to talk about is this. It's also been argued that if a woman who is a single mother should give up custody of her child if she wants to be with that man, because after all, high value men, they don't even, want pets that give them a headache, let alone whole children that they didn't help create. So, if you want this high value man, if you want to correct it, then it has been proposed that you give up custody of your child. Now, I find this interesting. Somebody mentioned Ciara. Yes, it did work for Ciara. She didn't have to give up her child. Can you imagine? And what if the father of your child is not fit, and you made a bad decision, and that you made a bad choice? So in order for you to have this nice life, you have to condemn your child to this dust magnet that you had a lapse of judgment with, so that you can have this nice life. Can you imagine? I when I heard it, I just was, wow. Wow. Anybody who tells you to do that, this is what you need to do.
Run!
Did you guys? I can't hear the sound. I hope it said run. You need to run. You need to run far, far away. First of all, for a woman to be able to give up her child, to give up custody of her child, it is a very anti-feminine thing to do. Because when we talk about the 4 facets of femininity, we talk about the Amazon, which is the strong warrior who activates when it's necessary. Then you have the Madonna, who is the spiritual side, one with nature, childlike curiosity about the world. Then you have the courtesan, she's the sexy one. And then you have the mother. These are not in order, but the mother, that's part of femininity. So the very people who are telling you to be feminine are asking single mothers to do something that is very anti-feminine. And just to be sure I was on the right track with all of this, I asked a follower of my show, like I said, ladies, we are being watched. This man has a net worth of about $3 million. And he confirmed it with me. I looked him up. It is true. And I asked him, because I like to run things over, especially when you're talking about high value, when you're talking about millionaires. So I wanted to run it by him because I'm not a millionaire yet. Okay? So I wanted to know. And he said to me, if I dated a woman who would be willing to give up custody of her child to be with me, I would run so fast in the opposite direction, it wouldn't even be funny. Because if she's capable of doing that with her own flesh and blood, if we decide to have children, what would she do? What would she do? So being able to just give up your kids like that is something that men seem to be able to do a lot easier than women. And I can tell you this, there would have been nothing that would have ever made me give up custody of my baby. Never. I don't care if it meant that I would be alone forever. That would have never happened. That is asking you to abandon an essential part of what makes you a woman. Okay, that motherhood. And even if you're not a mother, if you are creating, you are a nurturer, and asking you to give up that part of yourself for the convenience of someone else is the absolute definition of what is anti-feminine.